Good evening again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of DMs with PM, your interactive Tuesday program where you get the opportunity to ask your questions directly from the Prime Minister. It is indeed a pleasure to have you back again. So for those of you joining us for the first time, welcome. To our regular viewers and listeners, again, a pleasure to have you with us. To our listeners on Power FM, Vibes FM Karakou, Star FM, Fusion FM, GBN and WeFM, welcome to today's show. And of course, we want to again say to you, please do us a favor and share the live so other folks will get the opportunity to be part of this program. As always, our Honorable Prime Minister is back in studio with us, so we're going to jump right into it. Prime Minister, good evening and welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing very well. It's a pleasure to be back, and I want to say a special evening to all of the viewers and all those listening on radio and those who are following us on the social media platforms. Thank you again for making this a successful interactive engagement with the citizens of Grenada at home and abroad.
Wonderful. Well, we're starting off with you and, of course, the government. I want to say special kudos to you guys for, that initiative to bring our students home from Jamaica. Because, I mean, if you're paying attention to the news out of Jamaica today, it's not a pretty sight. So congratulations and kudos to the government for, having the foresight to get them out while it's early. And while we're on that note, of course, is there anything in particular you'd like to share for the students who didn't get to return and as also the people of Jamaica?
Well, I think first I want to start with the people of Jamaica, because I think we have for the last couple of days watched with trepidation and significant anxiety the slow-moving storm, which has become a Category 5, perhaps one of the 1 in 10 worst storms ever to hit the Caribbean. And obviously our hearts, our prayers and our thoughts with the people of Jamaica. The Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency, CDEMA, has been keeping us in CARICOM abreast of developments. Here in Grenada, at NADMA, we already activated and ready to assist once called upon. I've actually asked the director of NADMA to do an assessment of what supplies we currently hold in stock to be able to make sure that we can readily deploy this to our brothers and sisters in Jamaica once called upon to do so. We expect that we will get a needs list probably by tomorrow or the following day after the assessment or at least the initial assessment is done. Of course, Jamaica is a much larger island and significantly further north, but it's not over yet. We've got the Bahamas, we've got Haiti, we've got the Turks and Caicos Islands, we've got Cuba. So this is a major catastrophic natural disaster. And we hope and pray that as little lives as possible are lost. And despite the likelihood of significant damage, we are still optimistic that the damage could be as minimal as possible. And as I said, our thoughts and prayers are with our brothers and sisters in the region. We experienced this 1 year ago, so we understand what it means to be in this situation. And I think this just goes to prove, year on year, the challenge we face in the Caribbean from climatic events. So we'll continue praying for our brothers and sisters in the Northern Caribbean, and we hope by some miracle that, the path of the storm could veer out into the ocean as quickly as possible. To students or Grenadians in general who may be in Jamaica, and obviously we will know post the assessment what, if any, assistance they may need. We stand ready as we were pre the storm to do everything we can to make sure that we can safeguard the lives and the livelihoods of our citizens. We're happy that we were able to bring the students home. I want to thank the Cabinet Secretary, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the Civil Aviation Officer, Mr. Carter, who all worked expeditiously to put this together so that we could bring the students home. We're just happy that we were in a position to do so. We certainly didn't want a situation where, given the challenges that the Jamaican government is going to have caring for its own citizens, that if we were in a position to relieve them of an additional 25 or 30 persons, that we should not do so. But this is a very difficult moment for the Northern Caribbean, and as I said, we stand in solidarity with them and we stand in partnership, and anything we can do to support, we will do so.
And I know climate change is something that you're really passionate about, and so late in the season, October almost into November, and seeing a hurricane of that magnitude, I'm sure it must be a very, very difficult time for you as well as Prime Minister, because we went through it not so long ago.
Yeah, and we're still recovering from it, and we still have 4 weeks left in November, and the rate things are going, it may even stretch into December. So it's going to be a tough period, no doubt, for all of us in the Caribbean. And as I said, I'm confident that as the region rallied in support of Grenada, that the region will rally in support of all of our brothers and sisters in Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, Bahamas, Cuba, Haiti, as the case may be.
On a lighter note, I saw you in your backyard lime in Mont Long. How was that? And of course, what is the significance, to meeting the villagers and, hanging out with them? Not too often, you see prime ministers doing that. What was that like?
No, it was great fun. I want to thank the young men in particular of Mont Long, because they were the ones who actually asked me to visit. And the entire village came out. They played a little bit of cricket, even though the weather was quite inclement. There was lots of dominoes, lots of kids. Adult, senior citizens. It was a complete family life. That's how it felt. I got to meet a lot of the villagers, hear from them, but also socialize with them and to listen to them in terms of their thoughts on national issues, regional issues, international issues that are important to them personally as well. And it's an opportunity, I think, to showcase what I call Grenadian living, which is to show how, as a community and as a neighborhood, we are able to come together despite the challenges we have, despite whatever differences we may have, and be able to engage, talk, socialize, and make sure that we continue as a family togetherness.
Okay, we hope to see you in other backyard lime soon.
Yes.
Folks, we have to take a quick commercial break, and when we come back, it's to go in the DMs.
Bay Leaf, another of Project 500's signature design. This 3-bedroom, 1.5 bathrooms, a beauty, spans a gross area of 1,073 square feet. Built with fully insulated reinforced walls and insulated roof, Bay Leaf is crafted for comfort, efficiency, and sustainable living. The design achieves 100% efficiency in its superstructure. Inside, you'll find low-flow plumbing fixtures, large windows providing maximum ventilation, and a 25% greater efficiency than current building code requirements. Spacious bedroom, an open floor plan living, kitchen, and dining area. It is true to its name, Bay Leaf brings comfort and peace the moment you walk in. At Project 500, we're more than just building homes. We're about building sustainable communities and delivering quality homes for all families.
And welcome back, viewers and listeners, to DMs with PM. And it's just about time for us to take in your DMs. Our very first question from Anderson says, for the past couple of months, we have heard about NADMA turning to a statutory body. What is the latest on that?
Thank you, Anderson, for the question. The latest is that we have to appoint the board of NADMA. Once the board is appointed, then the board will be able to actualize the policy, bank accounts, and any additional administrative or support staff that is needed. So it's really a question of getting the directors appointed. We intend to do so shortly. I would actually indicate that it's on me, not the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of National Security, who's actually chased me a few times for us to conclude this process. But we are essentially proceeding with the statutorization. Okay.
We have another question from Chrisandra.
Yes.
Can we get an update on the Cliff project?
Yes, Chrisandra, we can get an update. As I think I've said before, we have not been happy with the pace at which the work has progressed. So we have certainly tried to exert as much pressure as we can at the Ministry of Infrastructure to get the contractor and the consultant to accelerate the pace of work. We've actually retained a Grenadian from the diaspora who's returned, and she's been specially tasked with helping us in making sure that we can push the work. And I think if you notice in the last 2 or 3 weeks, there's noticeable acceleration We have gotten a commitment from the contractor that the road should become passable by the end of December, and we will certainly seek to hold them to that commitment. The roadwork also includes the pipeline that has to happen, so we wanted to be able to achieve this at the same time as well. So we are going to have a roundabout at the what I'll call southern end of the cliff, that is from the Springs area, and we are widening, as you can see, the major junction at the top that comes from the Manjalu side, that goes from the Calavini Main Road side, that comes from the Woburn side, and that comes from the Woodland side as well. Most of the retaining walls are built. We have to do a lot of significant backfilling once the pipeline is done. So I expect that the backfilling, the completion of the retaining walls will happen in November, and then we should be able to begin concentrating on the actual road itself and the repaving by the end of December. It also includes, for the record, the bottom section of the Woodlands Road. That's the area that has been sort of caving on the bottom side if you're coming from the sugar factory area. The technical team did not want to start the work at the same time because we recognize that the heavier vehicles have to divert back through Woodlands and then back up to Woburn. So they did not want a situation where, because you have to build retaining walls there, you may have to dig out half of the road, and then with the heavier trucks passing, that you could destabilize the road as well. Now that we are beginning, hopefully, to get to the point where we can finish off the main Woodlands, the cliff part, we should be able to accelerate work on the bottom side as well.
Thank you for that. Maverick is asking, when will immigration forms be fully online to make it easier for travelers?
Maverick, thank you for the question. Well, online as in electronic. I wish I could tell you definitively tomorrow, because it's something that I've been pressing the Immigration and Passport Office on. We had some technical glitches. One, we have to work with regional partners as part of this, and also the customs declaration form aspect has to be filled in as well. We've pressed and pressed. I am optimistic that we should get this done before the end of the year. What I will undertake to do is get a full update from the Immigration Department and then be able to supply a date specific by which it happens.
Yeah, because it's very tedious having to fill all those forms.
Well, trust me, it's something I don't like. It's one of the first things I raised with the Passport Office when I got into office. It's why we eliminated the little piece that they ask you to fill out when you're leaving. I saw no reason for it. But getting the online has proven a little more challenging than we would have liked. We're actually hoping to be able to move to a much more modern system where, frankly, we don't have to fill out immigration forms at all. That's the ultimate goal, where you can simply have your passport processed and then you can move through. But one step at a time, so we hope that we can get this done before the end of the year.
Okay. Alpha Veronica Furry, what is the status of the new pension scheme, and why are so many employees, particularly those in statutory bodies, not yet included in the system?
All right, so the pension scheme is ongoing. We started since January. We have appointed a fund manager. We are also listing statutory bodies that are coming on. We actually have to do this via resolution in Parliament. In fact, one of the items that was carded to be dealt with in Parliament today, which would have to be dealt with next week, is in fact to include a list of statutory bodies who will be subscribing to the pension schemes. The statutory bodies themselves have to want to come onto the pension schemes. We are not forcing it. We certainly would highly recommend it, because we think it's in the best interest for those statutory bodies that don't have pension schemes to have them come on. So once the resolution is passed in Parliament next, at least the Lower House, next Tuesday, and the pension validation bill, because some statutory bodies were already on, a few. We are adding more, and we will validate that in Parliament so that they can properly continue to do so. So the pension scheme is actually taking place. Deductions are being made from the employees. The government, as the employees, contributing its portion, and the funds are being held in escrow for the pension scheme. The trustees have been appointed, at least approved by Cabinet as well, and so we expect in short order the trustees will begin to actually take over and manage the pension fund. Okay. So I will take that as a note that perhaps the Department of Public Administration should put out some more information so that the public is aware of that.
Karen Jolly, what is the current progress on implementing the National Health Insurance NHI? Additionally, when will the Ministry of Finance building be renovated so employees can return, helping to reduce government spending on rental properties?
All right, so I'll take the National Health Insurance question first. We are still very much in the design and concept stage of treating with the national health insurance. So I can't give a definitive date of when it will be implemented, because you have to, you'd have to design, you will then have to consult, we will then have to pass legislation, we'll then have to agree on how it is to be funded, and we'll have to agree on what services are to be covered. We are working with a timeline in light of Project Polaris, because we want to be in a position where the national health insurance can start by the time the new hospital comes online, because we want to be able to fund some of the services that the public will be able to access at the hospital via the national health insurance scheme. So that is where we are. The question of the Ministry of Finance building, I can't give a definitive date. The entire building has to be renovated, and we have to renovate it in a manner that addresses the fact that it sits on a water table. So it will be part of a larger St. George's renovation project that has to happen. We have to deal with the air quality within the building. We have to be able to deal with the mold, and we have to be able to deal with the fact that the sea obviously comes all the way underneath the compound. So shoring up of this is part of what we have to do. So that requires significant technical and engineering work to make sure that we don't just do cosmetic renovations inside, change the AC, change the partitions, and then you continue to have water and salt issues that undermines it. So that is part of what has to be dealt with. So that is likely to be at a minimum a 2-year project.
Marilyn Gilbert says, how can residents of the town of St. George's participate in beautifying and restoring the appearance of buildings, such as repainting and maintenance, to make the area more attractive for both citizens and visitors?
Well, thank you, Marilyn. I think you've answered the question. I think they can actually begin to, for those who own their buildings, certainly painting and maintenance is something we would encourage. I think she's probably asking how can the government incentivize it. I think we actually do need an entire St. George's revitalization plan. There are a lot of abandoned buildings. There are a lot of buildings that are no longer fit for the purposes that they were originally intended. So I think an urban revitalization plan is needed. There's actually a team of local Grenadian architects and engineers and well-wishers who are very much interested in this project. So along with the Ministry of Culture, the Ministry of Creative Affairs, the Ministry of Infrastructure, the Ministry of Finance, we are going to bring stakeholders together, together with the private sector, the Woolly Headed Foundation and so on, to talk through how should we best approach the renovation of St. George's. There are some large buildings that are owned by the government, and there are a lot of private buildings that are either abandoned or in disrepair. And we have to be able to treat with all of this. Ideally, I think St. George's should become a mixed residential and commercial city, where perhaps you have commercial businesses on ground floors and apartments and residential buildings above, because if people don't live in the city, you will not have activity at night or in the evening, and then it becomes quite boring and quite dead. And we have to find a way to breathe life back into St. George's. But again, these things, St. George's wasn't built overnight. It was built over centuries. So revitalizing it will actually take a significant medium to long-term plan to be able to do so.
So while we're in St. George's, Fran Abraham on the live chat is asking, as a concerned citizen in the town of St. George, what is the situation at the fish market car park that is now a ghetto? It's in front. Right.
Well, I can't answer what the situation is. I mean, I can certainly find it from the fisheries department what are the challenges that people are experiencing, to see if it could be addressed. I think, anytime you have an urban center, vending is a challenge, right? And the market square is the same market square we've had since the 1800s. And there is no other real vending spot. There's Melville Street, which really isn't a vending spot. Previously, some of the vendors were relocated at the stadium. The stadium authority obviously objected to it because it was temporary. And so we do have to look at how we can find more space in areas that are accessible to the public and accessible to the vendors, to see how we address the issue. But those things could be debated because, originally our vendors market was a vegetable fruit type market. The market now is being converted into not vegetables, fruit, spices, clothing, food, drink, music. So I think some regulation as to what are the activities that are properly suited for an open type market, and those which are not, is something that we have to address. But there are some options, I think, in the town of St. George that we can look at to see how we could help ease that challenge, but the vendors obviously will have to be prepared to comply with it after consultations with them, to make sure that there's less congestion on the streets.
Okay. All right, folks, we're due for another break, and when we come back, we head to St. Mark for DMs from the street. Back in a bit.
Cinnamon, one of the signature designs of Project 500. This 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home spans 1,122 square feet, crafted for sustainable and modern living. The design features efficiency in wall, windows, and roof, engineered to reduce your overall electrical consumption by minimizing heat buildup. A cooler building on those hot days. Inside, you'll find low-flow plumbing fixtures, which reduces water usage. Efficiency without sacrifices. With 3 spacious bedrooms, this design offers a retreat for all members of the family. With an open floor plan comprising of dining, living, kitchen, dedicated laundry, utility closet, water storage, solar panel, and parking for 2. And an area for outdoor home gardening. The Cinnamon balances functionality and style. At Project 500 is more than just building homes. It's about developing sustainable communities and delivering quality homes for all families.
And welcome back again, our viewers and listeners to DMs with PM. And I hope that you guys are so far tuned in. And if you're just joining us, welcome. It's about time to head to the streets, and we're heading to St. Mark this week with Norris.
Welcome to DMs on the Street. I'm your host, Norris Francois. And today we are in the beautiful parish of St. Mark, Sunset City. Come with me as we get the DMs from the people that matter. Welcome to DMs on the Street. What's your name?
Diamond Wint.
What?
Diamond Wint.
All right, ask your question.
My question to you, Prime Minister, is if I would like to be a politician, what subject should I pursue in school to achieve that goal?
Thanks, Mr. Wint, for the question. I would advise that you do math. I would say communication, so that would include English language, literature, and ICT, because to a large extent that's how we will be communicating. And then I would say that you should do history and economics. I think if you have those 4, it will give you a great sense of at least technical skills, but you have to do civics as well, because you want to be patriotic, you want to have the right values to work for your country. So I think those are the 5 subjects I would recommend. Math is important because it allows you to problem solve.
We have another DM on the street.
Welcome to DMs on the Street. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
Dimo, Linton.
Linton?
Manners call me Dimo, you know?
All right, ask your question.
Yeah, well, we have a main problem concerning the beach. We a man claims say that the beach is his. They move, they build they could build normally on the beach. A man have a locker, where he's a fisherman. And next fisherman down there build a shed where fisherman could, associate. So in the morning time we could stay and catch a fish. And the man said the land is easy to break down the place because the man forged on the plan and say, look, the building, but the guys in them didn't go in court. So the court ruled in his favor. But he come in and harass us again, claiming say that the beaches, you see all the benches here, the fireside, he say shed, he say we build it in his property. So we want the government to come and survey the beach so we could get 150 feet as cloud and see what require. So the boats could haul up, because all the boats in Victoria, Walton, up here they come in and haul up. During burial, they come up here. Me had clean up after burial. Mr. Rainey give me the rights and tell me clean it up and then I send him a clip. So we want government to come and survey the beach to avoid that confrontation with that guy, because sometimes he might want to come and move me and might be a problem, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, so we want government to come and survey.
All right, well, the beach is public property for sure, which means all of us have the right to access it and to use it as a beach. It seems as if there's a land dispute involving at least a private individual. I'm not so sure which beach in St. Mark it is though. So if it's Duquesne, then it is something I will certainly ask the lands department to look into, because obviously we want to make sure that we can maintain peace and law and order. However, if it's a private dispute between private people over land ownership, it's not something the government will get into. But if it involves public property, then certainly we will have the right to have a look and find out what's going on. And we have to ask Mr. Clouden to perhaps volunteer some pro bono services to help in resolving the matter.
We have another DM from St. Mark.
Afternoon, my name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
My name is Violet Francis from Duquesne, St. Mark.
All right, well, welcome to DMs on the Streets. Ask your question to the Prime Minister.
Okay, my name is Violet Francis. As everyone know me like Vio, I would like to thank the Prime Minister for what he have started for us. I've born and grown there and we never get a road like maybe, 60 already, so it's about 60 years now. I'm living up there and we never got a road. And now the Prime Minister now coming, start giving us a road, and the Prime Minister who was there before him, he always promised, always promise, and we never ever get
So
the
which
road
road is that again?
on Cow Hill.
Okay.
So the Prime Minister that now come, he come up the hill and even visit them neighbors and them house. And one of the neighbors right up to the top, Mildred, he take off his shoes to go into her house, the
Yes.
Prime Minister,
Yes.
which we appreciate him more very much. So I would like to thank him for what he have done for us. The start he had made. We thank him very much.
And what he will continue to do too.
And what he will continue to do whenever he get the money and the time.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Vio.
Thank you very much, Vio, for that. We did commit. Cowell started on this program, so it's important for citizens to know that we take their concerns and their query seriously. I'd never heard of Cowell. I got the opportunity to go after a brave young lady called in, and I think I want to emphasize to young people the importance of your voice, because there were senior citizens living up there. Miss Vio, for example, has been living there for, as she said, over 60 years. But that young person was brave enough to call to make the complaint on behalf of the community, and as a result, action has been taken. So we'll continue to work with the road officers, the team at the Ministry of Infrastructure, to make sure that the residents of Cowell can finally, after decades, as she said, be able to have much easier access to their residences.
And action was also taken on the St. David with the concrete on the road. That was fast.
Well, it's an opportunity for the public in itself to raise issues that we sometimes may or may not be aware of, or the road officers may not be aware of, so that we can have it addressed. So we want to encourage persons to continue calling in, to continue asking their questions or raising their queries, so we can try and address it.
Okay. We have another DM from St. Mark.
My name is Norris Francois. Welcome to DMs on the Streets. What's your name?
My name is Risha English, and thank you for inviting me here.
All right. Ask your question to the Prime Minister.
My question to the Prime Minister is managing a country easy or hard? And also, if you had to solve a crisis, how do you do it?
Wow. That's a pretty interesting question. So the answer is unquestionably yes. Managing a country is a difficult task, but it's not me alone. I have a team of ministers with me. We have the public service, and we have well-wishers and supporters who all chip in terms of trying to help with the governance of the country. And the governance is largely public, but the private sector also plays a significant role in the development of the country. So each individual who living in Grenada has an opportunity and a responsibility to help in the development of the country. So it's not just about the public governance, but it is a difficult task. It is a challenging task. We're a small island. We have very limited resources. We have not yet commercialized large quantities of oil or gas or any particular resource that the world needs in large quantities. If we get that, it may make things a little easier. And then we have the challenges of things like hurricanes, geopolitics, international turmoils, COVID-19. So you almost have every 12 months since we've been in office, major challenges that we've had to face. So it's a difficult task. How do we manage crises? I think first, we have to have the support of the Lord. We have to have the support of the population. I think you would have hopefully been in Grenada during Hurricane Beryl, and I think you would have seen how we took the approach. We try and be transparent. We try and communicate a lot with the public. We remain calm, and we try and involve as many persons as possible in doing the job that they called upon to do. So I think once you have a crisis, the first thing is not to panic. We try and listen to everyone. We try and get the facts first, and then we try and make the right decisions in the best interest of the majority of the people of Grenada.
Okay. We have another DM from St. Mark.
All right. My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
My name is Enrique Gibbon.
All right. Welcome to DMs on the Street. Ask your question.
So my question to you, Prime Minister, is since St. Mark's is known as the poorest parish, what plans might you have to develop parish in the future?
All right, so thank you for the question. It's an interesting question. I think the statistics may be suggesting that St. Patrick is now, at least based on some of the criteria that's used, But I think the key thing for both St. Mark and I will extend it to St. Patrick is that we have to be able to create new industries in both parishes. Traditionally, they rely on agriculture and fishing, but we have to look at what alternative options there are to actually bring commercial activity or enterprises in both of these parishes. And so we are currently having discussions with entities from the private sector to see whether there are opportunities, for example, to be able to do things like water bottling in St. Mark's or juice making in St. Mark, as well as the possibility of opening a call center in St. Mark. So it will require infrastructure, it will require some investment. So those are some of the areas that we're looking at as opportunities in the medium term to be able to create economic activity in St. Mark to ensure that we can generate employment for the persons, because that's the key thing. If we can generate employment, then it means people have income. If they have income, it means they can spend in St. Mark. So as a young man, I'm happy that he's asking the question, because obviously I think he's thinking about the future of his parish and what opportunities there will be there for him.
Well, I didn't realize you were also the Prime Minister of Africa. Wodemaya is hailing you as our PM. Welcome to the live, Wodemaya. We have another DM from the street.
Yeah, so I want the Prime Minister to put a jetty on Duquesne Beach so that on morning time, we don't have to swim out for the boats, you know. We jump on the jetty and we jump on the boat, you know. And it would be nice for the community, for the developers and Max and all them things they so, you know.
Nice.
All right, so thank you for this. We had committed to doing a jetty in Waltham, and we've actually done the studies by a firm that builds jetties. Waltham, the challenge is that they come back and indicated that because of the wave action, it will be extremely difficult to do one in Waltham, and there's a serious risk that even if we attempt to do so, it will cost an enormous amount of money and it may still not work. I did not actually get feasibility for Duquesne, so I certainly will discuss, I think, with the Fisheries Department, the team at Infrastructure, and we will ask to go back to see what are the opportunities for Duquesne, to see whether or not we can build a jetty that will actually not be washed away by wave action. But we do recognize that Waltham, Victoria, Duquesne, that obviously they're fishing communities, and we have to try and find ways to put the infrastructure in. But certainly for Waltham, despite my best efforts, because it's something we committed to, it is proving to be challenging from a technical point of view. So we'll have to see whether Duquesne could be an alternative.
And we have our final DM from St. Mark.
My name is Norris Francois. What's your name?
My name is Lakira Edwards.
All right, welcome to DMs on the Street. Ask your question to the Prime Minister.
So my question to the Prime Minister is, what are the advantages and disadvantages of being a Prime Minister?
I can't think of any advantages. But no. Well, I think, one obvious disadvantage is that you become a public figure. And so and becoming a public figure means you have to be prepared to subject yourself and your life to the public, to public scrutiny, to public comments, to public criticism, to sometimes even intrusive behavior. And now that you have things like social media, it basically means you're always watched, you're always looked at. So you would have to become comfortable with essentially being a public figure. I think that's one disadvantage, is that you have to manage your health, because it's very easy to develop bad practices, little sleep, lack of exercise, working for extremely long hours, so you could end up destroying yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, in the pursuit of trying to work on behalf of people. So it's a challenge that you have to manage. I would say your family would have to be very understanding, because if they're not, then you probably can't become a politician, because it will be very difficult to be able to manage the time between your family and the public. So your family will have to be understanding, not just understanding, but supportive. I think the advantage would be more a question of gratification, that if you get an opportunity to serve the public and you're able to make a difference, even if it's in the life of one person or one village, there's gratification that comes in that service. So, for example, the lady calling in from Cowell to say that after 6 years, finally a road is being built for them, that's the gratification, or I would say the advantage, that you're actually in a position to make a difference in a community or in a home, or even if it's just to inspire a young person to want to do more or become more, then I would certainly say that's an advantage. And then you get to meet a lot of people, for sure. And when you meet a lot of people, you get experiences, you get knowledge, you get wisdom, and some support from people.
Fantastic. Folks, that's about it for our DM from St. Mark. We're getting ready to entertain your calls shortly. Remember 423-3104, 423-3104. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll take your calls.
It's like the water pure and clean. It's a comfort anytime you need it. It's for everybody, fresh and green. You can count on us, there's nothing like it. It's homegrown, it's island pure. It's homegrown.
Welcome back, viewers and listeners to DMs with PM. And of course, this is your opportunity now to call and ask the PM your questions. 423-3104. And I believe we have our very first caller online. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Hello?
Good evening, you're live. Go right ahead. Caller, good evening. Think we lost that one. I'll have to take another one. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program.
Good night.
Good evening. Go right ahead with your question.
Prime Minister, you rock so nice in those clothes. But I would like to know when we will get a rally.
All right. I will have to think about it. It's not a question I was anticipating.
You were not prepared for that one, were you?
But no, I think we had the party at its convention in March. A lot has obviously happened between then and now. I have heard, even in Monlong, I think people asking me, when is the party going to have a rally? We are coming up to November, and then obviously there's a Christmas season. So I certainly think at a party level, we will begin to mobilize and galvanize. And I'm sure opportunities for multiple rallies will come soon. But I will say there's a town hall tomorrow in St. Andrew. So we certainly would ask you to come out. It may not be rally-like, but it's an opportunity for you to come participate, ask questions, take the mic, air your views, so that we could respond to them.
Where will it be held?
Deluxe Cinema. Deluxe Cinema.
What time?
6.
6 p.m. Okay. We have another caller online. Caller, good evening. Welcome to the program. Go right ahead.
Hello, good evening.
Go ahead, caller.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. You're live. Go right ahead.
Good evening. As a concerned resident of the parish of St. Mark, I would like to see, the Prime Minister. I would like to see the Prime Minister try to set up a pay-o-matic whereby we could pay our bills.
Okay. Yes. So thank you for that. It is something that has been occupying my mind to see how we can get this done. I have spoken to the chairman of NAWASA, the deputy chair of Grenada, to see how we can find some opportunities to be able to ensure that things like bill payments can be done in St. Mark, because we do recognize that there's some disadvantage to residents in the parish over this issue. So it's something we are going to continue to work on. We hope that we can get the support of the banks as well in terms of ensuring that we can facilitate some of this. But it is something that the residents have complained about, because it means for those who can't pay bills online, having to journey to another parish to be able to have it addressed. So it is something that we will try and see if there are opportunities for facilitating by having a shared office, a space where things like that could be done.
Caller, good evening. Welcome to the program. Go right ahead with your question. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening.
Go right ahead.
Okay, good evening, Prime Minister.
Good evening.
My question to you is to deal with the prison and the prison officers, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
I know you're the Minister for National Security. I would like to find out, seeing that you had done the pay and grade for the police officers, what are your plans for regularization, or how I should put it, promotion for prison officers? Thank you.
All right, thank you. The promotion of prison officers is an ongoing activity. We have a new commissioner of police who was appointed recently. When he came in, there was in fact discussions already taking place at the Ministry of National Security, being led by the Permanent Secretary and the Department of Public Administration over issues such as promotions, confirmations, the recruiting of new prison officers. Obviously, with a new commissioner, I think we owed it to him, and the decent thing to do was to give him the opportunity as well to weigh in and to have his views on this. I think they have focused initially on the recruitment, because one of the challenges that was identified is that the number of prison officers required to ensure that the prison was in fact safe was to a large extent inadequate, and that we had officers who were working overtime, some cases double shift, and we were becoming stretched. And obviously the prison is our single biggest national security risk, at least domestically. So the focus was first on the recruitment. So I expect certainly within the next couple of weeks that issues such as confirmation, promotions, etc. will be addressed as between the Office of the Commissioner, the Department of Public Administration, and the Ministry of National Security. I can't necessarily speak to any issues of pay and grade at this point in time. There has been, it has been raised the fact that the structure of the prison is very, in terms of the human, the hierarchy is very narrow. You know, there's, unlike, for example, the police, where you have a commissioner of police and deputy commissioners and assistant commissioners of police, you sort of don't have that within the prison structure. So there may be a need to reform some of this to ensure that there's greater flexibility at the top management so that people could act in different positions and so on. But that normally requires a comprehensive review of the human resource structure and capacity at the prisons.
We have another caller online. Caller, good evening and welcome to the program. Go right ahead.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, good evening, my Prime Minister. I am calling from Rose, right?
Yes.
And I'm asking in favor of, you might know where. You went there at a time that you cannot see.
Yes.
You went in the seaway and separation where, before you, for St. Andrews, going down that hill, on behalf of a solar light. If you get a solar light going down that hill there, because they're going to be real dark in the night. Like you have trees, so they have to pass there. A lot of people might be passing to go up there. And if you could get a solar light, if you have any present now, if you could sponsor a solar light to put there, please.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's noted, and I will endeavor once we have in stock to have one erected. Currently, we do not have any on the island. All of the solar lights are imported from China, so, and via container. So I will certainly note. I will say to the residents of St. David, I have asked for some prioritization of other parishes. So just bear with me. I obviously, we are a large parish. We probably have maybe the most intricate network of roads as well. So I know we definitely need, but I also want to give an opportunity for some of the other parishes to get as well. So it will be done. It's just that it may take a little while. But we first have to wait for the stocks to come, and once we have them, then we will see how we can manage to prioritize those areas that particularly are quite dark and may not have the ability to get an ordinary street light.
Okay. Good evening, caller. Welcome to the program. Go right ahead.
Good evening, PM. Just calling as Minister of National Security. Is there any plans to take in new officers into the RGPF?
The answer is yes. I think that's ongoing. The RGPF recruits officers from time to time, so that's an ongoing exercise at the RGPF.
Good evening, caller. Welcome to the program, and go right ahead with your question. Good evening. Go ahead.
A pleasant good night.
Good night.
I would like to ask a question, please, and thank you.
Go right ahead.
Welcome to the program. Go right ahead. Good evening to you. Good evening, my Prime Minister. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. We're getting some feedback. You may need to turn your own volume down.
Okay. Sorry about that. I would like to ask a question. I would like to know, or would just like to have a quick run through on the Sadoma contract, what it's like, and what we're actually looking forward to.
Sorry.
Please, thank you.
Can you repeat the question?
The contract that was signed, which was the Sadoma contract, I would like to know like how it goes and what is the lineup for it. Like, just give us a quick run through about it, please. Thank you very much.
Sorry, is it the Samoa contract?
Yes, thank you very much. I would like to know about it.
All right. Okay, so the Samoa Agreement is an agreement between the European Union, African, Caribbean, and Pacific states, which basically sets out a framework within which Europe will cooperate with whether it's Caribbean states, African states, or Pacific states for things like economic cooperation, investment, infrastructure, digitalization, those kinds of things. The agreement is the modern version of what used to be known as something like the Lomé Agreement. These agreements generally are named after the places in which they're signed. So this one is called the Samoa Agreement because it was signed in Samoa. The one previously was known as the Lomé Agreement because it was signed in Lomé. And basically it sets out a framework within which the European Union basically sets out how it will cooperate or support or partner with whether it's African, Caribbean, and Pacific states. These things go all the way back, for example, to the days when we had bananas, for example, where our bananas used to get preferential access to enter the European market so that we could ensure that our bananas could be sold in Europe. Later on, for example, when the Americans, through the Chiquita, large multilateral companies came in and the World Trade Organization got involved, they basically said, for example, the preferential access could not be permitted. And because the larger companies could sell the bananas much cheaper, it literally destroyed, for example, the banana industry in the Windward Islands and so on. And there are other examples, for example, with sugarcane in the northern islands. So these agreements basically set out cooperation agreements. It could be economic, it could be diplomatic, it could be on anything, infrastructure, digitalization. So I'll give an example. We are seeking to cooperate with the European Union to get aid and assistance from them in dealing with the sargassum issue. So that's just one example where through this sort of broad framework, we are able to get technical assistance to help us with seeing how we can turn sargassum from a nuisance into an actual asset. That requires us to have a lot of science, a lot of research, a lot of development. We have to be able to attract private companies that would be interested in doing the business here. We didn't have to get funding to buy the boats, to encourage the fishermen to learn how to catch the sargassum, to then bring it on shore, to process it, etc. So that is sort of what the Samoa Agreement is an example of the kinds of things that could be covered under the Samoa Agreement. We are trying to digitalize the government and digitalize as many services as we can throughout the country. So getting technical assistance in doing that. For example, in Grenada, we don't have a single digital ID, but we don't even have a single physical ID. We have different types of IDs. You have the voter's ID card, you have the NIS card, you have the passport, for example, and then you have a birth certificate. But the birth certificate doesn't give you a picture of the person. So in time, we want to be able to get to a point where there's a single digital ID. So that once you have that ID, you literally have it for life. And you'll be able to access all government services online, for example. We need to be able to get the technical competence. We need to be able to get the funding and the institution to do those things. So those are some of the areas that these things cover. I know when the agreement was being signed, there was a lot of suggestion and innuendo that somehow the agreement would allow, if I'm not mistaken, for the introduction of what we may call non-Grenadian values in schools and those kinds of things. So sometimes people believe that these agreements impose conditions or common conditions for it, but that's not the case. And in any event, usually in these agreements, if there are things that a country doesn't agree with, they can always reserve their positions on some of the clauses or may even refuse to sign or be party to the agreement. So I hope I've been able to do a little justice in answering the question.
Caller, good evening. Welcome to the program. Go right ahead.
Hi, good evening, Mr. PM.
Good evening.
And good evening, Mr. PM.
Go ahead.
A question for caretakers that works in schools and that did not meet the, as I said, wasn't qualified to get the minimum wage. And some of us still work for $800 and something dollars. Will you be able to do anything for us, Mr. PM? Because cost of living these days is very high, and we would really like something better than just hand to mouth.
So, if you could stay online, I want to clarify. When you say caretakers, what exactly do you do at the school?
We work, cleaning.
Okay.
Cleaning.
Okay. All right. So I can't answer without having a conversation with the Ministry of Education in particular, because, for example, I don't know the hours of work, whether it's 8 hours, whether it's 6 hours, whether it's half day, whether it's 5 days a week. So those are some of the things that I think the conversation will have to be held with the Ministry of Education to get a clear understanding of exactly what are the terms and conditions now, before I'm in a position to give a definitive response. I will say this, I always want people to be able to get more money rather than less money, but we also always have to be fair, because the money is always limited, and we have to do justice. So I will certainly have the conversation with the team at the Ministry of Education. The government negotiating team is also going to be embarking upon discussions with the respective trade unions that represent government employees and public workers. And I'm sure those are some of the issues that perhaps can be discussed at that level as well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Caller, what you can also do is to send the information that the Prime Minister just asked about to the WhatsApp number 423-3104, like the hours, etc., and they'll be able to get some feedback for you. We have another caller. Good evening, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good evening, Aruna.
Good evening, sir.
And good evening to your guest, the Honorable Prime Minister.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, you all hear me?
Yes, we are.
Okay. I just tune into the program,
Via
Facebook. So if I'm repeating myself, sorry.
Okay. Go
But
ahead.
I would like to know the current situation with the Cliff Road. I know they had given someone the contract, and they had some subcontract given out to other individuals. Because this road been in the making for a while. So could the Prime Minister educate us on what is really taking place there? Because people are talking about the road.
Yes.
I just passed there. And it's inconvenience to go in our Uber and when you could have just go to the cliff. So what's the current situation? Thank you.
All right, thank you. So I did address it earlier, but I'll repeat. And you are right. Yes, there was a main contractor. And in an effort to accelerate the pace of the work, the Ministry of Infrastructure took the decision through the consultant to subcontract some of the work, particularly the retaining walls, because that really the work involved building retaining walls to shore up the what you may call the southern part of the road, which was falling where most of the homes are, and to cut into some of the cliffs so that we could widen the road, and the pipe work that needs to be done in conjunction with the larger pipe laying that is taking place as we modernize the water infrastructure throughout the length and breadth of Grenada. It also involved the construction of a roundabout at the southern part of the intersection between Springs Woodlands and the Springs Woodlands Road. So where we are, we have asked the contractor to give us a commitment that the road should be passable by the end of December. The time frame for completing the work has actually elapsed already. So really we're in a position where there is significant time overrun. Thankfully, we haven't had a very, very rainy season. So we are hoping that the contractor can make good on its commitment that by the end of December, the road should be passable. But I think if you just passed that, you would probably notice that the road works have accelerated over the last couple of weeks.
And I think we have time for one more. Good evening, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good evening.
Go right ahead.
My question is that how did Mr. Dicon Mitchell achieve his goals of being Prime Minister of Grenada?
Sorry, the question. Can you repeat the question, please?
The question is that how did you achieve your goals of being Prime Minister?
How did I achieve my goals?
Of being Prime Minister.
Yes.
All right, thank you for the question. I'm not sure how to answer.
Was it a goal to begin with?
No, it was never a goal. When I got involved, when I joined the National Democratic Congress, I joined just out of a desire to try and help serve. I think the party clearly had a lot of challenges, and it was an opportunity together with others who joined to see how we can work to just begin to help build the party. That mushroomed into a goal to help the party win one seat in Parliament. You have to recall that the party had no seats at all, had lost 2 elections back to back, so the goal was that we needed an anchor. We would try and get one person elected. That then mushroomed into a goal to saying we should try and actually win the election. We probably stated it in a more negative way, but I wouldn't say how we stated it. The goal was to then try and win the election, and then that goal moved into me having to ask myself, what role I was prepared to play, whether I would just stay in the background. And I decided no, that I should in fact step up. And then I offered myself to run as political leader of NDC. And then obviously, for reasons that I'm still not yet sure, the public seem to have viewed this positively. It seemed to have galvanized momentum. People who perhaps had abandoned NDC started coming back. Persons who were never interested in politics before came on board. And in a sense, I think collectively there was a movement to bring about change in Grenada. But it was never about being the Prime Minister, it was about serving. And I'd said that openly, that whether or not I'd committed myself that I was going to at least give 10 years of my life to public service. So once I got involved, it became clear to me that this is something that I was going to do, regardless of whether or not we had won, regardless of whether I'd become the Member of Parliament, regardless of whether I'd become the Prime Minister. And I say this because if you pay attention to how I deal with my constituency, a lot of it has nothing to do with the government per se, but the fact that we have to bring people together. We have to motivate people to want to take care of their communities, to want to take care of themselves, to want to be involved in what is happening. So when you build a community center, the government can't manage a community center. It has to be the people. It has to be the community group. It has to be people who want to put on activities, who want to have bingo, who want to have, events for senior citizens, etc. That is how we're going to build the society. As I keep saying, the government doesn't really live in your community. You may have an MP or you may have an individual, but it's all of us who live. So I hope I can inspire. In fact, I know I've done so because I've met quite a few, particularly female young men who've assured me that they will be taking my job as Prime Minister in years to come. So I have no doubt that we are motivating the young people to want to serve, to want to help build their country, and I look forward to being in a position where I can sit back and watch that happen.
Okay. And before we go, of course, we have the cricket kits that will be distributed on Thursday.
Yes.
Speak to us quickly about that.
Right. So the cricket kits were actually given to me as a birthday gift last year. And when people ask me, what do I want, I always say I don't want anything. Let's see how there's an opportunity to help others. So I'm passionate about cricket because I think cricket is something that's very important to our psyche, to our history, to our sense of accomplishment. And so I want an opportunity to be able to make sure that we can continue to develop the sport of cricket and give people the opportunities to do what is necessary to build back the legacy, the Great West Indian cricket legacy. So I think in Grenada, the distribution will be island-wide tomorrow. We will be distributing to schools. We will then move to distributing to clubs that need them. And we're hoping it's an opportunity to rekindle cricket as a national sport and to produce more cricketers who go on to represent Grenada, the West Indies, and who go on to play professional cricket throughout the length and breadth of Grenada.
And also, we will be moving DMs with PM to TAMCC next week.
Yes.
So for those of you viewing, just a program change. Next Tuesday, it will be held at TAMCC DMs with the students of TAMCC. I care to just elaborate a little bit on that?
No, so I look forward to the engagement. I was actually interviewed by, I think, about 16 TAMCC students at the Prime Minister's office. I had promised for some time now to visit TAMCC. And I thought it was a good opportunity to not just visit and have an opportunity where I'm just speaking, but to give as many of them the opportunities to ask comments, to share, to interact. TAMCC is really the future of Grenada. You know, the students who go to TAMCC are the ones who are going to create what Grenada becomes in the next 50 years. And so I'm looking forward to the engagement. I'm looking forward to learning a lot from them. I'm looking forward to hearing their ideas and, you know, their recommendations about how we can, first of all, develop TAMCC into a center of excellence. And then second, you know, recommendations they have now for us as a government, in terms of how we improve education, how we improve youth interaction. And I'm sure coming out of this, it will give us an opportunity to also implement some of their ideas or their recommendations and suggestions. So I probably just want to go back to put on record my appreciation to Mr. Dangote for sponsoring and paying for the cricket kits. I mean, it's 1,000 of them, so it's quite an expensive venture to get the cricket kits and then to have them shipped to us here in Grenada for us to distribute. Nigeria doesn't play cricket in any meaningful way, and he's Nigerian, and yet still he's seen it fit to commit to something that is important to us here in Grenada. So I want to thank him and thank the team that has worked hard to put the distribution together. And I want to encourage parents to encourage their children to play sports, to encourage their children to remain active. We have the likes of Afi Fletcher for the ladies as someone that they can look up to. We have our Junior Murray, we have our Raul Lewis. It's not just cricket. Raul is managing the West Indies cricket team. Right, we have Andre Fletcher, who Andre is probably close to 40 years and he's as fit as ever. I saw him DJing in Malmont, having a good time on Sunday. He must have been on the mic for about three hours non-stop. So, but Andre obviously is playing professional cricket and earning his living playing professional cricket all across the world. So there's a wonderful opportunity now more than ever to become a professional cricketer for those who are interested. You may not make the West Indies team, you may not even need to, because there's so much professional cricket league and so much opportunities now that our stars in the past didn't have. To make a lot of money, to become a star, to get an opportunity to meet a lot of persons and then to have second careers in management, in administration, in fitness, in coaching, you know. So it's a wonderful opportunity. So parents, please, we are lighting the playing fields. We are distributing the cricket kits. We want to form the cricket clubs. So please support the children. And you yourself can probably come out and play the old men against the young men. That's what they were doing in Monlong. Who won in Monlong? I can't remember if it's the old men or the young men. But we need more of that. We need the older ones sharing with the younger ones and training them and helping them. So I'm looking forward to the distribution on Thursday.
Fantastic. So again, a reminder, DMs with PM, TAMCC edition next Tuesday at TAMCC, and it will be hosted by the students. So we hope to see you guys there as well. Of course, on the live, on listening via radio. Once again, thank you so much to our stations, Power FM, Vibes FM, Caracruz, Star FM, Fusion FM, GBN, and We FM. And of course, all the viewers on YouTube and Facebook for tuning in for another program. And we'll see you next week, same time, different place. Have a good Tuesday, everybody.